Yes, yes, what we saying? Right, there we go. You have to let me know if the audio's coming out all right. Can you hear me okay? Maybe I'll quickly test myself. Maybe if I crank the master a bit. Right, I can hear that there. Sweet. Sounded good to me. Sounded good. If it's a bit quiet, I'm not 100% sure to be fair how to get it sorted, but seems to be working. Mate, the EAD10 is the one. It's so easy to use, man. So easy. Like I've literally just plugged it into my phone. I was worried that it wasn't going to work and there was just going to be no sound, but it seems to be sweet. So yeah, we'll just hang out, see if anybody joins. Any questions, welcome. But yeah, I thought it'd just be good to do a bit of a live stream, get to know some of you who watch the channel. Any drum questions, feel free to send them over. Any other questions, and then maybe I'll wait and see if a few more people join. But also, I might ask you lots of questions and yeah, see what you've been up to, see what drumming stuff you're working on, see what stuff you're digging, that kind of thing. Oh man, sorry if I just did that with the talk back on. Is the audio coming through all right? Sick, mate. How's everybody doing? Where's everybody from, by the way? A few people in the chat. Feel free to send over any questions. Yeah, what countries do people live in? Are most people UK or wherever? Yes, mate. How's it going? Diego from Mexico. That's sick, man. Yeah, shouts Ashley, Will, Juicy, Josie, Josu. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, man. And Davis. How's it going, everyone, man? So yeah, feel free to send over any questions. But I just thought it'd be good to yeah, get a little live hang going on, and maybe start to do this like fairly regularly. I was trying to do like every week streams over on Twitch, and I didn't even realize that you can live stream on YouTube. So yeah, it makes sense to do it over here where there's a few people already watching the channel. But yeah, I don't know if I'll do it every week. I might start doing it maybe like every other week or even once a month. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, if anyone's got any drumming questions or questions about anything, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can chat about whatever, dude. Yes, Jack Manpo, how's it going, dude? Good to see you over here. Mate, that's sick. South Carolina seems like we've got people coming from all over, which is wicked, man. What have people been working on? I've been working on a couple little things. Just firstly, I put a unported reso head on my bass drum for the first time in ages, man. So I've just been trying to get used to not burying the beater because I'm definitely one for burying the beater the whole time. And just I don't know if it will come through over the EAD, but see if you can hear the difference here between the tone. So first thing I'll do is just bury the beater, and then I'll let my beater come off the head. So that's with it buried, and that's letting the beater come off. And there's so much more low end and weight behind it, but I'm not that good at doing it. So I've just been working on just like playing grooves that I would normally play, but just trying to let my bass drum just ring out and give it a bit more low end. Yeah, I'm not sure how well it's coming through, but just trying to get used to that low end. I did a bit of recording earlier today, and could do probably with a bit of tweaking. Sometimes, like I find in the room, it sounds really good, and then when you record it, it just doesn't sound quite how you think it sounds. So I might even crank the reso up a little bit more to get a bit of extra resonance, so it's not sounding flappy. But yeah, I don't know how that's coming through. Yeah. So Davis, tuning tips for the bass drum. For a lot of my drums actually, I just copy what Benny Greb says in his DVD, the Art and Science of Groove, or you know the one I mean, something the Art and Science of Groove I think it's called. Um, but yeah, man, like pretty much for the bass drum, what I'll do is I'll have a. I always use a coated batter head, so I'm using a coated Power Stroke 3. Um, and it's pretty much as low as it can go. So what I'll do is I'll tune it finger tight all the way, or like I use it's finger tight, but I use like the top of the tuning key. So I'm not like actually cranking it round. I'll just use like the top like that and go around so it's all just completely tight like that. And then I don't even tune it. I just literally go a tiny bit extra so that the lugs don't fall off. And that's all I do on the batter head. And then inside the drum, a tiny little towel. I mean, it's like between a towel and a flannel. I don't know like who this towel would even be for. It's like a towel you'd use for a dog. It's like tiny, man. And I've got that like touching the batter head a little bit, and then I've got a rolled up t-shirt touching the reso head. And then in any of my videos, or 99% of the videos that I've got on this channel, I will have a like a clear ported front head. And one of the reasons it cuts through, to be honest, is just the size of the drum, because it's an 18. It's tuned a little bit higher, so it tends to cut through pretty nicely. But literally, maybe like a couple of days ago, like end of last week, I think, I just swapped the resonant head for a coated but unported, unported front head, which is giving it that bit of extra resonance. Again, I'm not sure how well it's going to come through. So I've just been experimenting with that really, but yeah, just what I'll do is on the front head, just tune it pretty much the same as the batter head, and then just go a little bit extra. And I do that on pretty much all of my drums. Whatever drum I'm working on, I'll tune the batter head to wherever I want it, and then I'll tune the reso head a little bit higher than the batter head, and I find that just kind of tightens the sound up a bit. But again, I stole it from that Benny Grab DVD. Yeah, I reckon it could be. Do you mean on my kit or on your kit? Because part of it could be the way that it's coming through on here. Because this is quite like a compressed sound, and to be fair, this is actually like, I feel like the EAD, no matter what setting you've got it on, is sick. But like the settings sound kind of similar, like however it comes through. But if it's on your kit and you mean just in general, one thing to think about is that when you're hitting the front head and you're sat this side of the kit, you're hearing a different sound than is actually coming out at the front of the kit. So sometimes, like I was saying a second ago, like sometimes when you record your bass drum while you're just recording your drums, the bass drum doesn't sound quite as you think it does in the room, because you're hearing the sound that's coming this way, which is a lot of attack. But over that side of the drums, which my mic is over that side of the drums, that's where you're getting the resonance. So sometimes it sounds dope over here. It'll sound like really nice low end, really punchy, but over that side it might even sound like a bit flappy. And then also sometimes giving it that nice like deep kind of loose tuning with a porthole, sometimes this side you get that nice attack every time, but over that side it can sound a little bit different. So yeah, I would just experiment, man. Yeah, and also just experimenting with bass drum size. It's a harder thing to experiment with, obviously, because I mean you got to find a whole bass drum. But I like started off playing. Well, I think the first kit I ever had was a 20, which was like pure, like proper beginner's kit. Like not from a, I think it's from a drum shop, but it's like the cheapest kit in the whole drum shop. Is like somewhere between a drum kit and a toy. But then the next one I had was a 22, and I went from 22 to then turning on the floor toms into a 16-inch bass drum, and then from there to a 18-inch bass drum, and man, they've all sounded completely different. Like such a big difference between, for example, the 22 and the 18. So all of that stuff will, yeah, it'll have a massive impact, and how much you muffle it and stuff. All of that stuff's, yeah, super super important. But I'm pretty happy with it. Just got to like, because I tend to bury the beater a bit. I've just got to, at the moment I'm being really conscious to not do that, because it's been, yeah, like 20 years or something. Well, I think 19 years of burying the beater. Yo, Diego. Kind of. There's some like outdoor gigs. There's gigs getting booked back in. Like I've got some tickets for like festivals, like day festivals and stuff in London this summer. So it's looking hopeful, but also a lot of the things that I've had tickets for have been cancelled. So we'll see, man. But yeah, so far there seems to have been there seems to be some gigs happening again, and there's been outside gigs for a while, but you just got to find the right spot. So some venues will have like a decent size like outside seating area, and there might be some like jazz bands or something playing. But yeah, we'll see, man. How about in Mexico? Yes, Jake. How's it doing, man? In terms of uni, yeah, I went to uni, man, but I studied drums at uni. So probably if you're not studying drums, it's probably a little bit harder. Because we have drum kits in the uni. But that being said, I did pretty much all my practice outside of the actual uni, because the uni I went to had drum rooms, but you had to book your drum rooms at the start of the week. So like at the start of the week, they would open up the bookings, and yeah, they just go so fast, and I'm definitely not an early riser, so I would always miss the bookings. Like I only booked a couple of them the whole time I was there. So the first year, like the course I did was just 2 years. So the first year I just used to just practice in a rehearsal space, and then a lot of the time I was on a practice pad, which isn't that ideal, to be fair, for like studying a drum course. But I found like a practice space which was super cheap. I think it was like £8 an hour or something, and if someone didn't come in after you, they wouldn't kick you out or whatever. So I used to just go there a couple of times a week, and then yeah, practice pad stuff, and then whatever I was doing in uni. But then the second year, I got really lucky, and my room was big enough to put a drum kit in the room. So like I lived with like 8 boys, and we all took names out of the hat for who got what rooms. But then they let me have the biggest room because I had a drum kit. So yeah, somehow the neighbours didn't complain and managed to get away with a whole year of playing drums in my room. And to be fair, I didn't go into uni that much. I was at home practicing more than I was in uni. So yeah, those neighbours, I don't know, they either hated me or they're super nice, but yeah, it worked out, man. But I reckon just try and find a local practice space that's quite cheap. Where are you going to uni? Is it in UK? Yo, Carlos, how you doing? So influences, it changes all the time, and I mean, there's loads, and I listen to loads of styles of music. Like I love playing that kind of modern jazz stuff, but that's not necessarily what I listen to every day. So it really varies. But for me, the 3 drummers that are my favourite drummers by an absolute mile is Yusuf Days. I mean, it's obvious choice. If you've watched anything on the channel, you know that I love Yusuf Days, but his drumming is just next level. And like when I first heard his playing, that was just like a game changer for me. I was just like, mate, you can play like that in a band. That's insane. The second of my favourite drummers, no real particular order, but like Yusuf Days. Second one is Richard Spaven. Um, Again, like I just think he's super creative, and again, like when I first heard of him, that was like a big game changer for me. And like still, there's loads of his grooves that I can't work out, which is really cool. And like a lot of them are in 4/4, but just grouped in really interesting ways, or they'll have like a particular idea or theme that runs through it that's really interesting. So yeah, he's a sick one. And then the third one's Mark Juliana. So Yusuf Days, Richard Spaven, Mark Juliana. If I was going to say like my 3 main influences, or just like my 3 favorite drummers. But yeah, there's loads, man. There's loads. Like I listen to a lot of electronic music. I listen to some metal. I listen to punk. But I really love playing that kind of 16th note based modern jazz stuff. Is my favorite thing to play for sure, man. Looks like it's frozen on my end, but I don't know if it has for everyone. Let me know in the comments if we're still going strong. Um, do I play in an ensemble or gig? So the last band I played in ended just before coronavirus. So I've been thinking about this actually. Man, that's long. Can you still hear the audio? Is it just the video that's frozen? Damn. Well, maybe I'll give it a couple of minutes, and if it's not working, maybe I'll just stop and start again, and see if that helps. The old classic, turn it on and off. Hopefully it pulls through. But yeah, Diego. Yeah. So the last band I played in ended just before coronavirus. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna have a think about what to do next. I might start something new. I might play on some electronic stuff. Um, have had a couple of people ask me to play for them, but I'm just deciding what I want to do. Um, and yeah, see what happens from there. Okay, sick. It's good. At least the audio's still working. We'll see how we go. Hopefully it'll come back on, man. Might need a quick off and back on. Yeah, Jake. I reckon in Liverpool, I reckon you'll easily be able to find a practice space, and yeah, just try and lock it in. And like what you could do, that would be a better idea than what I did. I would just do it casual and just like book a studio space. But if you can, even like book in a regular slot that you keep going to every week. That's your time to practice. I think would be good for consistency, because I really found in that first year that I was at uni, even though I was studying drums, my practice consistency was way down. Like I was hardly playing really for doing a drum course. So yeah, if you can keep that up and just have the same slot every week, I reckon that would be wicked. It's kind of like we're doing a podcast now with the video frozen. Carlos, pad routine, mate. I don't have a pad routine, to be fair. Like at the time when I was practicing a lot on a practice pad was simply because I didn't have a drum kit that I could get on all the time. So I would still just practice like beats and stuff, but playing on top of the practice pad. At points, I practiced a lot of like singles and doubles and flams, classic stuff, paradiddles, diddles, 6-stroke rolls. But I always try and get them from the pad to the kit as soon as possible. So at the moment, because I teach drums full time, obviously I'm in a room with a drum kit every day, so I honestly never get on the practice pad at the moment. My practice pad in the studio at the moment just holds the hand sanitizer for my students when they come in. So yeah, I don't really have a practice routine, but depending on where you're at with your playing, you can't go wrong practicing your singles, your doubles, your flams, all of that classic stuff, man. And like a good exercise to have a go at is, you might have done this already, it's just like start off playing singles and then turn some of those singles into another rudiment. So let's say we're playing in 16th notes, so 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Then practice turning the downbeat into a double stroke. So rather than right, left, you'll get right, left, right, left. That would sound like this. Then you could practice turning the E into a double stroke, 1 E and a, so you get right, left, right, left. Then you can push it to the and, right, left, then to the right, left. So all together you'd get... That kind of stuff I've honestly found so useful. And then what you can do is do the groups of 2. So your downbeat and your E would be the doubles. So you'd end up playing right, left. That would sound like this. Then the E and the so right, left. All of that kind of stuff, man, is a really good like systematic way of just working through and making sure that you're feeling really comfortable with transitioning from singles to doubles. And then you could do the same thing with flams. So if you turned the downbeat into flams, you'd get right hand accent flam, so left, right, left. So you get... And you could work on like exaggerating the accents. And then push them over. And honestly, man, if you can work through all of those exercises, just different placements for flams, different placements for double strokes, then that's a lot. That's a lot to get down, and really helpful for your technique. And it's just sick for ideas. Like, it's really nice to sometimes maybe stick a flam in there in like a weird position. Like if you've got 4 16th notes, turn in the last note of the group into a flam, so you'd get 4 E and just little ideas like that you might not usually play. And then you could even like leave out the notes leading into it, or just play a flam leading into a downbeat. endless ideas, man. But yeah, all of that stuff I worked on the practice pad. But yeah, usually most of the time I don't tend to play on the pad unless it's super hot outside and I don't want to be in the drum room and I don't have any lessons. If it's like a weekend or something and I've got an hour free, maybe I crack the pad out. But yeah, most of the time I'll just play straight on the kit. That's sick, Jake, man. So is that like owned by the same people that are in this studio space, or is that literally one of the other warehouses and you're just doing band practice in there, but it's not actually for music, or is it the one that's over the in the other industrial estate, like just over the road? Because I got yeah, some of my mates have a space at the one over the road, which I haven't been to in over a year, but yeah, it's cool here, man. It's cool. What I might do is, what time is it? 1:30. I reckon it'd be cool to do like another 15 minutes to half an hour. So maybe what I'll do is I'm gonna stop the video and restart it, and hopefully it won't be frozen. Sorry for the long out. But yeah, hopefully this time around it'll be sweet. So I'm not sure what this will. Yeah, I'm not sure what this will do to the video. If it's just going to cut everything out, or yeah, I don't want to long people out. But let's give it a go because I think it'll be cool to be able to actually play some drums and stuff as well. So I'm just going to quickly end it, and then I'll crack straight back on. Give me 1 second. I think we're good. I think we're good. Sick. I didn't even have to stop it. It's just my so my the EAD10. It's good to know this for next time. So the EAD10 is plugged straight into my phone, but I think, I mean, I don't know, I'm like the least technical person ever, but I think it's using more battery than the battery's charging. So basically I had a error up on my phone saying that I was running out of battery even though it's plugged in. So it shouldn't die, should be good. But yeah, it's fine now, which is sweet. So at least it's not a connection thing, so it should be good for next time. I'll know if it freezes. I just need to go and exit off of the message. Sick, I'm glad. So yeah, feel free to send any questions in. Or I was actually going to ask you lot, like, what video like series and stuff are you feeling the most? Like, are people digging the beat breakdowns or the beat sheets or the jungle breaks? What other ones have I put out? I've started doing like some shorter ones, which are more like tips and stuff rather than full lessons breaking something down. So just like ideas that you can try out, or people just feeling a mixture. And also, like, if there's bands or drummers that you're really interested in, just drop them in the comments, man, and maybe I can make some videos on it. But yeah, I think the next one I'm going to film, hopefully this Friday, although I need to put a bit of work into it, so potentially this Friday or maybe the next one, I'm going to do a Benny Greb one, because I feel like that's long overdue. I've got a list written down somewhere of loads of ideas and stuff, so I've got a lot of ideas, but yeah, feel free to drop some recommendations. Yes, Errol, welcome to the stream, man. Good luck with your finals week. I'm sure you're going to smash it, dude. So Alan, sorry if I mispronounced your name. So Alan, um, by audio perception, do you mean like notating stuff? Do you mean like hearing a track and then writing it down? I'm not sure if I've heard that term before, so just yeah, let me know exactly what you mean, just so I don't answer the wrong question. But I'll definitely answer your question in a second. Thanks, Errol, man. I appreciate that. Yes, Christian, how are you doing, man? Yeah, so you just said one of my favourite ones in terms of drum books to get hold of. So The Art of Bop Drumming. To be honest, I don't play bebop that much. Like, I had a phase of playing bebop. So after I did a degree in drums and like contemporary playing, I went and did 1 year of a foundation degree in bebop, and during that time I practiced the art of Riley, what I'm on about, John Riley, The Art of Bop Drumming, and man, that book's sick. It's so good, and like I don't play bebop that much anymore. Maybe the odd time, but still the exercises in that book are killer. So I do still come back to it and just practice the exercises. If for nothing else, then just coordination. So that one. Another one that I really like is the Benny Greb book, The Language of Drumming. That one is, anyone who has lessons with me would definitely get some exercises from that book at some point. And like even what we talked about earlier, for anyone who was already here with the doubles and singles and stuff, all of that stuff is written in the Benny Greb book. It just gives you like every option for anyone who hasn't seen it. So that one's really, really good. And then a few others, really like the Breakbeat Bible. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's a really good one for just, I mean, for me particularly, it's a really good one for teaching, because a lot of concepts are in there. So it could be like breaking up your hi-hat pattern, it could be breakbeats between the bass drum and the snare drum, it could be like ghost notes. So for me to, when I'm teaching people and they get into that kind of level where they're looking at those kind of concepts, it's a really good one to be able to just open a page, print out some exercises, and then start to use those as exercises to jump off from. And a lot of the time what I do when I'm teaching people is, rather than just going through the exercises, like, yeah, cool, exercise 1, exercise 2, we'll just take some of the concepts and then try and create some of our own stuff with it, because I think improvisation, or at least being able to come up with creative ideas, is super important. But that one's really good. Yeah, man, to be fair, I haven't really been working through any drum books for a little bit. The Carter McLean one's really sick. There's some really cool exercises in there, but there was a few things I was working on that were a bit more priority for me, that I kind of put that one to the side and was like, I'm going to come back to it in a bit. But yeah, the Carter McLean one seems really, really good, man. So I'd recommend that one as well. Yeah, so Alan, in terms of like hearing a tune and being able to write it out, or just being able to work it out, doesn't matter if you write it or not. Um, the first thing is, for me, this is all just the way that I do it. But the first thing that I would work out is, time signature is obviously important, but the first thing I would tend to work out is the subdivision that's being used. So if you can get used to counting the subdivisions, like if it's 16th notes, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, if it's 16th note triplets, 1 and a 1 and a 2 and a 2 and a 3 and a 3 and a 4 and a 4 and a, being able to count that stuff is so helpful, because if you hear a tune and the drummer's playing loads and loads of notes, sometimes it can be really hard to pick out what they're playing. So if I play a groove, there's a lot going on in there. Like, I'm filling the space. But what I'll do is I'll just count through and trying to hear where those accents are. So if we take all the ghost notes out, Then I'll just count through 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and just start to work out exactly where the accents are. And then what I'll tend to do is I'll have it up on, like I'll use software for notation. So I'll just listen to the track and then I'll just put in where those accents are. So let's say on that one, you've got a snare drum on 2 and the of 2. 1 and a 2 and I might even just write in the 2 snare drums, 1E and a 2E and Then it's like, okay, where's the bass drum? The bass drum's on beat 1 and the of beat 1. Then if we just looked at that half of a groove, that half of a bar, then where do the ghost notes go? So you can hear that the ghost notes are filling in the space in between the 2 bass drums. So it's 1E and. 1E and. So you've got 1E and a 2. And that's essentially what I'll do. So maybe I'll get just the first half bar, 1E and a 2, 1E and a 2E and then I'll work out the second half in the same kind of way. So it's not, I don't just hear the groove and then write the whole thing down. It's more about pinpointing where the accents within the groove lie, and then usually filling the space. There's a lot of like kind of standardized phrasing that a lot of people will play, so sometimes it's relatively easy to hear. If it's really hard, sometimes I'll just sit there for as long as it takes. So yeah, some things that take a while to notate. Some things you can just hear it and straight away play it, especially if you play that kind of style yourself. Say somebody plays like the same phrasing that you'd normally play, then it's really easy to pick it out because it's like, oh cool, I already know how to play that. But yeah, most of the time I'll do that. Sometimes I will prefer to just learn it first and not think about exactly where the notes are going, but just try and hear the groove, play the groove, and then after that kind of process I'll still do the same thing. I'll just work out exactly where it all lies. But yeah, start with the big notes, start with the big accents, and then fill in the space. Sometimes it's hard, and I'll even like go on YouTube, find a song and slow it down to 3/4 speed or half speed, whatever needs to be done. But sometimes it just comes together pretty easy, and you'll just start to recognize patterns and stuff. But yeah, start with the accents and the big notes, and the subdivision. So if it's changing subdivision, you need to just work out what's it changing to, and where does it change, and then from there it's easier to work out which notes to add in. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, it's kind of it can be a really long process. Like videos like the Yusuf Days, the full album beat sheet from Welcome to the Hills, notating those 2 pages, or maybe 3 pages, I can't remember how many pages it was, but notating a like 4-bar groove from each one of those songs took me the whole day. So it can take as long as it takes, but just, yeah, that's the way I do it. No worries. No worries. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, just going through it systematically, one bit at a time. And also, one last tip actually is if you can do it on a piece of software that plays it back to you, that makes it so much easier because you can keep double checking it. So like the final product, like something that I'd put on my YouTube videos that's notated of what a drummer's played, that looks like really crazy and there's a lot going on, but yeah, it just starts with the simple bits. Might even start with, okay, I know the bass drum's on beat 1, let's just get that bass drum in there. Okay, I can hear there's a snare drum pattern that's syncopated, so it's most likely going to be played on an E or an let's work out where it is. So yeah, just go through it nice and slowly and just gradually piece it all together. And the more you do it, the faster you get. Like if you do it all the time, like with anything, you're going to get faster at it. Like at one point in time, I used to do a notation every day, which a lot of those are still on my blog. If you go like really far back on my blog, on my website, which is in the description of any YouTube video. There's loads and loads of notations on there, so it's just practicing, getting good at notating. Frozen again. Is it frozen for everyone? Bear with, I'm going to see if there's that little message again. Yeah, I'm sorry. The same thing happened again. There was another message on my phone which just froze it. Good to know now, though. Just going to go back. There's quite a few comments I haven't seen, so I'm just going to quickly check them, make sure I don't miss anything. Appreciate it, Errol, man. That's really nice of you, dude. Yeah, I'm stoked that anybody's digging the videos. So, yeah, gonna keep smashing them out, man. Yeah. So, was it a Errol? Is it a electronic drum kit that you learnt on? Do you mean? Because I think that's a really common thing. It's like people who learn on electronic drums but don't have access to an acoustic kit all the time will quite frequently have either find it relatively hard to get used to playing ghost notes, or sometimes I notice the hi-hat foot, because the sensitivity on electronic kits, sometimes the hi-hat foot's not the greatest, so sometimes that control, and it feels so different, it isn't quite there. So what I would recommend for ghost notes is practice with way more contrast than you usually practice with. So practice with more contrast than you probably even need. So what you could do is, sometimes I get my students to literally play a bar of 16th notes and accent every right hand, ghost every left hand. So where we're playing that left hand, we want to be exaggerating how quiet we're playing it. And then you can do the same thing with your right hand. So your right hand's ghosting, your left hand's accenting. But rather than starting with the left hand, I would recommend doing one E. So you're accenting the E's and the E's. The reason for that is just because most of the time you're playing right hand leads. So you might as well practice in the way that you're usually playing. And also, that's going to get you used to playing those left hand accents on the syncopated notes, the E's and the E's. Then what you can do is you can move your hands into a position where you might actually play a groove. So you're going to play right hand accents up on the hi-hat, left hand accents down on the snare. Then what you can do is start to improvise some ideas. Now this is jumping, obviously I'm just jumping forward to give you ideas, but like you could spend as long as you need to spend on just playing those accents. But then you could improvise some ideas where you're going to play a mixture of right hand accents and left hand accents. And then, of course, you've got two textures here, so you don't have to stay in this position. You could move wherever you want to move to. So, I mean, I added one little double stroke in there, but other than that, it's just singles. So then, you can do the same thing, but add your bass drum in. with those steps, you're focusing on the contrast in dynamics, as well as the complexity of the grooves. It's just all about those dynamics. And actually, when I'm teaching, my students sit on this drum kit, and I'm actually sat on an electronic drum kit over that side of the room, which you don't see in the videos. Actually, my phone is balanced on top of it. But when I play ghost notes on that drum kit, no sound comes out. So if I'm like doing an example, say of that exercise, and I'm showing a student, I'll actually play louder on that drum kit, on an electronic kit, than I would if I was on this drum kit, so that a sample actually comes out. So if I play ghost notes how I normally would on a snare drum, actually all you get is just the sound of a rubber pad. So yeah, just try and exaggerate your contrast as much as you can. And then also just exaggerate and then just play some classic grooves. Maybe like play some amen breaks, all of that kind of stuff. You'll probably find it really helpful, because then you can just focus on that loop, but really trying to get that nice contrast between your backbeat and your ghost notes. And yeah, if you can just start off with literally the individual strokes, I think it'll put you in a good position when it comes to actually applying those ghost notes. Just get that contrast going. Yeah, Jake, to be fair, Lonerism's my favourite Tame Impala album as well. I've only done one Tame Impala video, which was Breathe Deeper, and that was one of those ones I just did it spare of the moment. I just it was in the first lockdown, and they like closed the tube stations and stuff, so I was walking, I think it's an hour and 20-minute walk from my house to the studio. So I was walking an hour and 20 to the studio, playing drums all day, and teaching Skype lessons, and then like recording videos and stuff and editing videos, and then walking an hour and 20 back. So I was doing like 2 hours 40 walk a day just to come to the studio. So on those walks, sometimes I wouldn't even plan what I was gonna make a video on. I just, on those walks, just listen to tunes and decide on the way in. So that was one that I just decided to do on the way in. But yeah, I might do another Tame Impala video. I can't remember this dude's name, but there's already a channel on YouTube where there's a guy who does like all Tame Impala covers, and I think there's notation, I've forgotten, but honestly I can't remember what the channel's called, but if you type in Tame Impala drums with notation, his channel will come up, and he uploads like every Tame Impala song, shows you how to play it. I mean, he doesn't break it down, but you can see how he plays it, and I'm pretty sure he includes notation, at least in a PDF at the bottom, so he's worth checking out, but I've forgotten his name. But I think, as far as I know, I think he just does Tame Impala videos. Yeah, sick, yeah, you know him, I think that's the one, yeah, Roddy Bailey, that is who I was thinking of. Thank you. Whoever said I love your videos, I appreciate it, man. I don't know how to pronounce your username, so I'm so bad at pronouncing stuff. I think that one I'm not gonna try because it's throwing me. But I appreciate it, man. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Like if anybody is digging the videos, it's so sick, man. All right, couple more questions. Yeah, so Ashley, is Dulux the best paint to pour over your drums for Insta videos? I could only imagine, yes. Can't see what other paint is an option. Um, I think when I painted the studio, I used Dulux. I think I did. can't really remember, to be honest, but yeah, G-Lux. It's got to be the best one, man. Yeah, any advice on how to play fast one-handed 16th notes on the hi-hat? Yeah, so I've actually just filmed a video on this. I don't know, I'm either going to bring it out next week, or I might, depending if I film a Benny Greb one on Friday, I might try and edit that one before and go Benny Greb and then another like short little tip. But yeah, I'll tell you anyway now. So one thing that is really helpful is working on the molar stroke. So I won't go into teaching how to play that now, but there's loads of videos, man, like loads and loads of videos. But the best one to check out is the Jim Chapin one's good because it's like a classic. But in my opinion, the Jojo Mayer video is better because I should say I prefer it. It's not better. I just prefer it. But because you can see him doing it all in slow motion and stuff. But the Jim Chapin one's a classic, so it's also really good. But yeah, just getting used to getting that whipping motion and getting a stroke on the way up has been the most helpful thing ever for playing 16th note grooves with one hand for me. So where you're usually playing 8th notes, to be able to get a note on the way up as well is super, super helpful. So that technique has been great for me. And then, yeah, just honestly, just practice playing it every single day. Like I said this on a stream the other day, actually, like when I was streaming on Twitch, like when I was studying drums at college, some of the other drummers used to like always like be laughing at me and stuff, like, mate, you're still playing that same groove. You're playing that same groove, because every day I'll just come in and go straight into a 16th note, one hand 16th note groove. And yeah, they're just like, mate, play something else, and I never did because I love that groove, and I still played it most days. So just doing it every day, man. And then the final little tip on that one is if your hand's starting to get tired and you're playing in German grip, then what I'll do is I'll swap from German grip to French grip, but keep that similar kind of motion going. It's slightly different, but same kind of pumping motion going. Which this is essentially what the video I filmed is about, is just swapping between the two. So like, obviously doing it that fast, to be fair, it's kind of pointless to do it that fast, but if you're playing a whole song and all the way through the song is a fast 16th note groove that you want to play with one hand, then to be able to swap from your German grip to your French grip is really, really helpful. You can kind of hear the difference. You can hear that it's like, sounds slightly different, but if you're playing a song, you're playing live, like no one's going to hear that difference. So yeah, it's really, really helpful. So if I play like a couple bars of each, so in context, I don't know if you could hear a difference in tone on the hi-hat, but if you could, it's probably pretty minimal. But throughout a whole gig or a long track where your arms getting tired, honestly, really, really helpful. Okay, cool. Again, I'm just going to quickly go back and make sure I haven't missed anything. Errol, I need to listen to more Frank Zappa. I've listened to a bit, but I don't know him well enough to comment, man. But maybe that's something for me to start checking out. I know he obviously is known for having insane drummers and stuff, but I don't know why. I just never properly listened to Frank Zappa. Like the odd tune, obviously the Black Page and that kind of stuff we studied a bit at uni, but yeah, it was kind of more just to see how crazy the notation was. I don't think we even learnt it or anything, but yeah, that could be something to check out, man. Yeah, Ashley, Secret Weapons, that's the one. Yeah, like if you go on YouTube as well, if you don't have the actual DVD, you can just see that like little clip. of him talking about that molar stroke, and yeah, super helpful, man. So, Mr. Tummy, how's it going, man? So, if I had limited practice time, what would I consider my must practice areas? I think for me, it just always changes. Like, if I had a limited time for, let's say I had a week where I've got hardly any practice time, to be honest, rather than practicing, I personally would focus on playing. That's just for me. Um, I'd rather, if I've only got half an hour, let's say I had half an hour every couple of days for a week, I personally would rather play for half an hour than I would practice exercises for half an hour. But let's say you've got that limited practice time forever, that's your practice time, then obviously you might want to start to think about making improvements. But for me, it really varies, and a lot of the time it will just come from trying out a groove idea and um, not being able to play something. Then I'm like, okay, I need to really work on this. Either not being able to play something or not being able to hear something. Either one of those two. Um, yeah, just like if I'm playing some weird over the bar line thing and I can't work it out, usually that might spark an idea for practice. Or if I just literally can't do something technically, then that might spark an idea for practice, and then I'll just keep going on that. Like usually I'll just keep going on that until either I've got it down or at least I'm starting to be able to get it into my normal playing. So like even if it's still a bit sketchy, once it's got to that point, a really good example actually, this is a good example, was at one point I could not do groups of three with one hand, so this kind of stuff. And I was like blown away, mate, when I'd go to gigs and I'd see the drummer playing grooves where you've got those little groups of three. All of that kind of stuff. Like, I just couldn't work out how to do it. So then my practice became actually just getting used to the groups of three. And what I did was I practiced both hands together. And just starting to learn that control to actually snap back on that third note. But then at a certain point, I could do a group of three. So then I'd just try and drop it into a groove. So I could play like a backbeat. And start to just involve it in my playing. And then from that stage, it's no longer necessarily my main practice, but I will keep coming back to it. But now that just might be something that I just play every day. And that is something that I play every day. Like if I'm improvising a groove, those groups of three will come out a lot. So yeah, to be honest, I'll just focus on whatever you feel like you need to focus on. Whatever you can't play, choose something that you can't play. Like at the moment, I've gone back to practicing doubles between the bass drum and snare drum, which I've practiced that stuff loads of times, and then I still have found like errors with it or things that I can't play that fluidly. So I've just gone back to basics, man. I'm just practicing like right, left, right stick on the hi-hat, doubled up with a bass drum, left on the snare, and then every permutation of that. And then I'm just dropping it into grooves and stuff. So yeah, I don't know if that's a helpful answer or not, but I probably wouldn't say anything in particular. Just whatever I feel like I need to work on. I'll just keep it fluid, and then just play if you want to play, because that's the fun stuff, and that's the purpose of the practice. Yeah, so Will, I think for breaking out of grooves that you always play, because I think everyone's guilty of it. I'm definitely guilty of it, but I would just say just do one thing different. Just choose something that you don't normally play. It could be that you leave like a weird amount of space in a bar. So let's just come up with something, and then just try and like find a motif. So let's say you're playing a lot of backbeat stuff, which I play backbeats all the time. Well, what about if we start our groove in a different way? Sorry. Okay, that might not work for a lot of musical applications, but there's a motif there that you could start to develop. So it could be you're going to leave some space. You might even just start with a snare drum where you'd normally start with a bass drum. Just get creative, man. Just anything you can do to just kind of switch up. It could even be like a textural thing. Could be getting a contrast and dynamics. Like, just I would personally just try and think of one thing to change, and then just try and lock into that thing, create a motif, and then improvise around that motif. And maybe what I played there, I might be like, okay, that's probably not going to work in anything that I am working on or any bands that I play in, but something that you create from there could work for starting an idea off. So yeah, I would just try and think of something, just play something that's not what you normally play. Even if it sounds terrible, that, in my opinion, is still sick, because you're just creating ideas and having fun, and just you're going to come up with something by doing that. So I reckon, yeah, maybe a couple more questions, and then we'll call it a day. But this has been sick, so I reckon I'll do this maybe just like every couple of weeks or something. So feel free to ask questions and send in requests, or just have a chat, man. But this has been fun. So let's do a couple more questions. Mate, no worries. Thanks for sending the question, dude. Yeah, so transcribing songs. I talked about this earlier, so I'll give you a really quick answer. But yeah, I'll just, exactly what you said. I'll just work out where the accents are. That's the important thing for me. So work out the subdivision, work out where the accents are. So it could be the bass drum, it could be the accents on the snare drum. And then from there, I'll add in all the finer details like ghost notes or little hi-hat groupings, or textures last, actually. So open hi-hats and stuff, I'll literally leave until the end, because unless it's a massive part of the groove, I'm not bothered about it when I'm just trying to get something down. You can add in those textures last. So yeah, just start with the big hitters, those big accents. Yeah, I agree, Ashley, man. And mate, thank you. Like, so Ashley's come to every stream I've done over on Twitch, where I was literally just trying to work out the setup, and it was going wrong pretty much every time. So I found out that my computer couldn't handle OBS and was just overheating and going mad. Which is, OBS, sorry, is like the streaming platform. So I'm just doing it from my phone. But mate, Ashley, I appreciate that you always come through, man. It's sick, and like, yeah, I really appreciate that, man. And it seems to be working now. So yeah, we made it through, and I reckon YouTube's the one. I agree. Yes, Jax, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Kokoroko, man. That's such a hard groove, man. Really, really hard groove. Like crazy hi hat stuff going on. Some of the bass drum placements, getting those notes going in between the ostinato and the hats, and then filling in the space with the ghost notes. It's solid. It's solid, but such a sick groove. And like, Eddie Hick is insane, man. He's played so many good grooves and plays for sick people. So yeah, keep going. Like, I'd say a month to work on something's fine. Like, the first video I ever put out, which is the only video I've actually deleted from my YouTube channel, just because it was so bad. But the first video I ever put out was Nate Smith Rambo, and I knew that I was going to put that video out for months before I ever made the video. Months before I even ever bought the stuff to, like, a camera or like some mics or whatever. And that took me honestly months to learn that. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep going, and
at some point, if you keep it up, you'll get it down, and then you've learnt a sick groove, and yeah, something to be stoked on. Like that Rambo, mate, it took me so long, and I also learnt it with the wrong ride cymbal pattern, which was just my own mistake. So then I had to relearn it with a different ride cymbal pattern, and it was solid, solid, man. Yes, Errol, that's sick, man. It's always good to know where people are watching from. Istanbul, sick, man. I got some agops fairly recently. I got these Istanbul agop mini hats, which are super sick. So fun. Like I wanted to get something a bit more cutting because most of my cymbals are really dark. And these are wicked. Yeah, I'm having loads of fun with those. And then I've also got an Istanbul got signature crash, which I gotta say this is probably my favourite cymbal, man. Yeah, I've had the Zildjians for a while, but this is next level. So sick, man. Okay, sick. Let's call this last question. So, Mr. Tummy, any plans to do a book? Um, Mate, I have thought about it. To be fair, I have thought about it. Like, but I reckon for now, anyway, the YouTube channel is kind of the book. Like, it's in my opinion, it's probably better. Like, you get the notation if you just wanna look at the notation and not watch the video. Um, or obviously you've got a video to go along with it. So yeah, for now, probably just making video lessons and stuff. But yeah, I did think about making a book at one point. I was thinking about it a lot, and like, hard. Not, I mean, it's definitely going over the top to say I was planning it, but I was just coming up with ideas of what I might do. But yeah, I reckon just the YouTube channel might be the one, man. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe at some point. But yeah, I reckon. Yeah, thank you as well. I appreciate it, man. I'm yeah stoked anyone's digging the videos, and this has been fun. So I'll I think we'll call it a night there, but that was sick. So maybe I'll do it again in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, feel free to drop by. I think it will usually be at this same time on a Tuesday because that's the only evening slot that I've got free. Um, or you know maybe we could do it like a bit earlier in the day or something like that. But for now, 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, BST. Sorry. But yeah, this has been sick, man. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and new video out tomorrow, which is another short one, which is just about leaving space and leaving rest. So just like taking different subdivisions and playing the subdivision on the snare, but then dropping some of the notes out and applying it. And there's some sick sounding fills in there, man. And you'll get the notation and everything with it. So that's out tomorrow, 12 p.m. BST. And then yeah, I'll catch you in a couple of weeks, mate. But this has been fun. Thanks for tuning in. In a bit.